Hey there, it's Linda Cromar coming to you from my home office in Colorado. Today we're going to talk about something that's really, really critical and important. So listen up. You want to listen to all of this. How does one not only sign people up, but keep them active and still staying in whatever program it is? We have learned that a lot of the time, people don't actually take any action inside of their business. And so therefore they feel like they failed and so they quit. So how do we keep them from doing that? We can't push them into things they won't do, but we can establish a real, actual program of how they can get started. Keep it simple, keep it set in a way that's piece by piece by piece, so even the most newbie person will understand and start taking action, because it's a proven fact that if they are actually using their product or service, they are going to stay. Because guess what happens with that? They start developing their own testimony. That's a seriously important thing. They have to have their own story. And what is their own story? This is how I used it. This is what happened. In other words, they're getting a result. If they're in a weight loss program, then obviously you have to help them lose weight. If they're in a travel program, you have to get them traveling. If they're in a systems program like I'm in, they have to be using and implementing the system. It's always about that. No, it doesn't really actually matter what the program is. You have to set up a system for them. And I don't mean an actual physical system, but an actual plan of action that's going to get them started the right way. And you got to make sure you get past a little bit what keeps them stuck and fearful. So they can't do the hardest stuff first. They have to do some simple, easy things. One of the major things is, are they paying for the product so they can use it themselves? I had a company one time I was part of. It was a weight loss company, and there's many of them out there, so don't try to guess. But the major thing is that it was important that we got people on the product, and that's what we actually did. We spent a lot of effort and time getting people to become customers and basically a product of the product. If they're not a product of the product, it's easy for them to quit because they don't see the value of what it is that you are offering them. They have to see the value. They have to see you using it. They have to start using it themselves. Very, very important. So when you are starting out, maybe you don't have the ability to create that system, but somebody in your upline does. And you need to hook up with that person and make sure and get a hold of that information from them so you can start. That happened with me with the program I'm in. Daniel was doing some awesome stuff. And I happened to look at the leaderboard and I saw his name showing up on there all the time. And when I saw that, I said, he's doing something that is getting results. I want to know what those results are. And so I asked him. He put me through the process. And of course, as you can see, I've been talking about that I'm winning too, because it's a successful pattern. When you learn a successful pattern from someone else that's already doing it, then it is proven. You have the social proof already. Like with me, I saw Daniel actually on the leaderboards. And I said, what is Daniel doing? It's important that you show people how to do it in a way that they can actually create their own success. And I can promise you one thing, when they have created their own success, they're not going anywhere. But the hardest part is going to be that first couple of weeks. They cannot just be in limbo during that time. It's important that you actually have a step program of some sort and you have some physical contact with them. A phone call, a Facebook We have the Messenger app. I like using that actually. It's even better than a phone call in some ways because it connects directly up with their phone. And they can listen to it from the phone, but they aren't actually giving you, for instance, their phone number if they don't want to. I use that a lot, but I don't do that with people that haven't actually started to get serious about building whatever it is I'm doing. And so then when I'm using that, I'm just going to do a follow-up and help them get started properly, make sure they have what they need, and then they're connected to me automatically in the Messenger, and they can ask questions anytime they want. And also, I have a Facebook page, a group, which I have put training in there. And with that training, they can get started. And so if they have the how-to already set up and they don't have to guess, that's a biggie. Because you know what? You don't want your new people ever having to guess. Because that's the quickest way to create frustration. And what does frustration lead to? Inactivity and eventually quitting. You don't want that. So you want to make sure that they understand exactly what the process is. And you want to get them using the product or service immediately so that they are ready to go. Because as soon as they have their own story, guess what? They're going to tell other people that story because it's exciting. So I'm telling an exciting story too. My downline is growing like crazy because I'm using a successful formula Daniel taught me, and I'm also helping them do the same thing. Because it's not enough, understand this, it's not enough that somebody buys one time. You want them to keep coming back and buying and buying and buying. And why are they going to do that unless they're seeing a result? They're not. If it's a weight loss program, you better make sure they're going to lose at least a pound, because if they've lost a pound, they're going to get sold. It doesn't have to be a huge amount. It actually has to be something, though. In the case that I'm doing, I want somebody to learn how to use the tools and to start building their own list. That's important to me. So I'm going to help them in any way I can. They need to understand what they've got, and they need to put it to use. Very important. That's why it works for me, and that's how it can work for you. All you have to do is make a decision what those tools and training are for your particular company. And when you're building your own personal list, it makes a big difference. That's what I have to share with you today. And if you want to learn more about my special secrets of how I'm making my downline grow, let's have a talk. Bye for now.